The Wooden Bowl lesson, a powerful story about respect. Many people believe that the way they treat others will slowly disappear with time. They think harsh words will be forgotten. They think cold actions will fade away. But life remembers everything. Every action we take, every word we speak, every kindness or cruelty, life stores it quietly like an echo waiting for the right moment to return. And sometimes the lesson comes from the most unexpected place. This is the story of a small wooden bowl and a lesson that changed a family forever. There once lived an old man. His hair had turned white like winter snow. His hands trembled constantly. His steps were slow and careful. Age had taken much of his strength. Sometimes his memory failed him. Sometimes his eyes could barely see what was in front of him. After his wife passed away, he moved in with his son. The son welcomed him into his home. There he lived with his son's wife and their little boy. At first, everything seemed normal. Every evening the family gathered around the dinner table. The smell of warm soup filled the room. The clinking of spoons echoed softly. But for the old man, eating had become difficult. His hands trembled so much that peas rolled off his spoon. Milk often spilled across the table. Sometimes the spoons slipped from his fingers and fell loudly onto the floor. The daughter-in-law grew frustrated. Every spill made her sigh loudly. Every dropped spoon made her shake her head in annoyance. The son tried to stay patient at first. But day after day his irritation grew. Meals that once felt peaceful slowly became tense and uncomfortable. One evening, after another spill of soup across the table, the daughter-in-law finally spoke. "This can't go on anymore. We can't eat like this every day." The son stayed silent for a moment. Then he nodded. And that night they made a decision. A decision that would soon change everything. The next evening, when dinner time arrived, the old man found something different. Instead of a seat at the family table, a small wooden table had been placed in the corner of the kitchen. A rough wooden bowl sat on top of it. "This will be easier," the daughter-in-law said coldly. "You can eat here." The old man looked at the small table. Then he looked at his son. But he said nothing. Slowly he walked to the corner and sat down. From that day on he ate alone. The family laughed and talked at the big table, while the old man quietly sat in the corner with his wooden bowl. Sometimes the old man's eyes filled with tears, but he wiped them away quickly. No one seemed to notice. No one except one person. The little boy. He watched everything. He watched his grandfather eating alone. He watched the wooden bowl. He watched the cold silence. And he remembered. Children always remember. One evening before dinner, the father noticed something unusual. The little boy was sitting on the floor with several pieces of wood. He was carefully carving them together. The father smiled. "What are you making, son?" The boy looked up innocently. "I'm making something special." The father laughed softly. "What is it?" The boy held up the small wooden object he had made. It was a bowl. A rough, simple wooden bowl. The same kind his grandfather used. The father frowned slightly. "Why are you making that?" The boy answered with complete honesty. "I'm making a wooden bowl for you and Mom." The father blinked in confusion. "For us?" The boy nodded happily. "Yes. So when I grow up you can eat from it." The room suddenly became silent. The father's smile disappeared. His heart felt heavy. Because in that moment they understood. Their child had just shown them the future they were creating. Children don't learn from what we say. They learn from what we do. And one day they become the reflection of everything they saw. That night something changed in that house. The father walked slowly to the corner of the kitchen. He gently took his father's trembling hands. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Then he helped him stand. And for the first time in many days the old man returned to the main table. No more wooden bowl. No more lonely corner. Just a family sitting together again. The daughter-in-law quietly wiped tears from her eyes. Because sometimes the hardest lessons come from the smallest teachers. We often demand respect. But we forget to give dignity. We treat the elderly as a burden when they are actually living pages of our own history. One day we will walk slower. One day our hands may tremble too. And when that day comes, the world will treat us the same way we treated others. So remember this simple truth. The example you set today is the future you will live tomorrow. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Because life never forgets. And one day life always returns what we give.